What's up, everybody? Mike here, and welcome to the gaming news of the week. And first off, starting with Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader announces the Void Shadows expansion. Owlcat Games has announced and set a release date for Void Shadows, the first expansion for Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, a classic CRPG with turn-based combat set in the Coronis Expanse. And this content promises about 15 hours of gameplay and is also included in the Season Pass, and will be available August 8th for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam and Epic Game Store, and GOG as well. The DLC allows players to delve deep into the bowels of their ship in a gripping story that pits them against a completely new enemy attempting to undermine the Von Valancius dynasty from within. Additionally, the Owlcat Games development team has been working to get gameplay verification for Steam Deck. The presence of the Death Cult will be manifested through one of its assassins, Kibela, if I'm saying it right, who is willing to dedicate her life to the service of the Von Valancius dynasty. As generations of her predecessors have done, she will go even further by adding a new romantic option for the Lord Captain. Regarding the threat, players will have to face the Genestealer cult, a race of Xenos that operates in the shadows and infects crew members with its genetic code to convert them. Their goal is to undermine the victim's faith in the Emperor to fulfill the cult's purpose. And for more about the Season Pass content, it's priced at $29.99 USD, includes access to another expansion called Lex Imperius, which will be available later this year, and offer another 15 hours of gameplay. This content will add Adeptus Arbitus as a new companion and uncover more about the Imperial Tide collection, also known as the Great Harvest. Next up, Dragon Age Dreadwolf is listed for the first time on Xbox and PlayStation stores. So apparently, this game has suddenly appeared on the Xbox store page. Naturally, there's no release date, nor is it available for pre-order, but this could be an indication that its launch might be near, and it's going to be at Summer Games Fest. We're going to get more details on it there, so I would imagine we're going to get at least a release window, if not a release date, and hopefully some actual gameplay shown off. Considering it's been almost 2 years since we learned that Dragon Age Dreadwolf would be the official name of the fourth main installment of the saga. And in the description of Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which indicates that this installment will take us to Thetis, a vibrant land of rugged wastelands, treacherous labyrinths, and radiant cities, bringing with wild combat and secret magic. It is anticipated that the game will have a full presentation in the summer of 2024, which Summer Games Fest, which I just mentioned. And EA did hint at a launch this fiscal year, and a well-known insider mentioned a release at the end of the year. So it's a possibility that this could release holiday this year, either November or December. And EA did hint at the launch this fiscal year, and fiscal year usually means, for gaming companies anyway, that essentially spring, beginning of spring or end of winter, which is usually like March, month of March, till the next year, March, basically. So, at the latest, we can expect this game to come out end of March 2025. Then, coming back to Warhammer, so Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus 2 has been announced. A saga developed by Bulwark Studios that combines management and strategy with turn-based combat. The title is in development for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC for Steam and Epic Game Store, and it does not yet have a release date or a window. It does have the first cinematic trailer, which you're seeing right now, and some campaign and gameplay details. So, Warhammer 40k Mechanicus 2 will offer 2 playable factions, each with its own narrative, campaign, and distinct playstyles. Players will be able to control both the tech religious acolytes of the Omnissiah and the ancient and immortal Necron legions rising against them. The first Warhammer 40k Mechanicus explored the culture and purpose of the Adeptus Mechanicus, a sort of technological monk class of the Imperium of Man, the greatest political force in the galaxy. Imagine an engineer with a mind designed by an unyielding government bent on maintaining its power by exploiting its cheapest resource, human life. It is a rather dark plot for a turn-based strategy game, even for a universe like Warhammer. It was a game made by diehard fans for diehard fans. And now, with the arrival of a sequel, Warhammer 40k Mechanicus 2, Warhammer enthusiasts have a good reason to get excited. The Adeptus Mechanicus will not only fight against the ancient humanoid force known as the Necrons, this time players will have the opportunity to experience the battle from their perspective, as this mysterious robotic species now has a fully detailed separate campaign. Each faction has strengths and weaknesses that must be considered in tactical turn-based combat. The key lies in mastering and adapting to the abilities and styles of each faction, as well as the variety of combatants each side has. So very cool stuff there, very cool stuff. And moving on, and the latest Sony State of Play, God of War Ragnarok, which kind of got leaked a week or two before about coming to PC, or rumored at least, but is officially been confirmed to come to PC via Steam. Not too surprising, honestly. And we got the release date as being September 19th. Not only will it arrive on Steam, though, it'll arrive on Epic Game Store. And you can expect the usual type of, several new PC features that's going to get the nice, additions to the settings, things like that, add customization, things like that. And I imagine the modding community is going to be so on it and excited to mod the hell out of this game. I mean, heck, they did it with the first one when it came to PC. Unfortunately, though, Sony is going to have a requirement for those who wish to play this title on PC. They must have a PSN account to use the game. Once again, alienating and restricting those countries that cannot make PSN accounts. I was hoping this would not be a thing for the single-player games that Sony puts on Steam, I kind of understand the way that why they would do it for the multiplayer games, or at least a game with multiplayer component like Ghost of Tsushima. But at the same time, no, I don't really get it because it doesn't make sense. It's just an artificial inflation of their numbers. So, and I guess Sony doesn't care. They're making so much money that they don't really have to care about these, countries that can't make PSN accounts. Like, that's just the reality. People think, oh, Sony's struggling or this and that or hurting. Like, no, Sony is not hurting when you got Xbox, who used to be their legitimate rival and, competitor to keep them on their toes, essentially bowing down to them by putting some of their games on their platform, and more Xbox games that are considered exclusives are going to be coming to PlayStation in the future. So the reality is, Sony doesn't really have any legitimate competition now, and it kind of has, they can do whatever they want. So if they want to make you have a PSN account sign-in requirement when it comes to their single-player games on PC, they're going to do it. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid as shit, and it's just a way to artificially inflate their user numbers, basically, in terms of PSN users and active users that they don't even publish usually all that often. And they definitely don't usually, like, I think they said, recently, in terms of, half of their active player base has PS5s and the other half don't. So they're very selective as far as certain things they'll share. And they typically, and Microsoft's the same way with the Xbox console, they typically don't share, player numbers for their games. Steam is different. Steam, you can usually check that out, but not consoles. And this controversial strategy regarding their PC releases aligns with a recent press conference where the new CEOs of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Herman Holst and Hideaki Nishino, discussed the role of PC in the company's business. And according to the executives, live service multiplayer titles will be released on both PlayStation and PC simultaneously, but this will be different for games with narrative experiences based on single-player games. And honestly, this is stupid once again. Based on reports, Sony hopes that by releasing the first installments of their franchises on PC and delaying their sequels on this platform, that users will migrate to PlayStation to continue those stories. They are stupid for thinking this, because reason why the fuck would a lot of PC players, or even a small section or wherever the heck, want to go and flock to your PS5 when a lot of PC players love to mod out games to add, new life to them, to add more replay value to said games on PC. You can't mod games on console, not usually. There are certain special cases, like Bloodborne, for example, but you have to not have a certain update or patch beyond a certain point in terms of the system update for Bloodborne to be a modded version on console, for example. And that's just like one specific case. And even that, it's kind of like a kind of an ordeal just to go through to get it all working right. So yeah, while maybe this does encourage some of the PC audience to go to consoles, but I've talked to a lot of my friends lately, especially a lot of people in my community, that support me on Twitch and YouTube or one, and a lot of them are like, this isn't going to encourage me to go to PlayStation. I don't care. I'll wait. Like, Sony underestimates the patience of a lot of PC gamers. They'll just wait. And the ones that are getting it right away, I would say usually are either the big content creators that, are going to get a free code for it anyway to review, or the people that have the money, to essentially go and buy it on the PS5 first one, or rather play it on PS5 and don't play PC games at all. Right. So yeah, that is what it is, but they're foolishly thinking that. It's stupid as hell. And I don't think it's going to work out the way they want. Moving on again to some more Sony news. Silent Hill 2 Remake gets a release date. We just got this at the Sony State of Play. Now, I'm objectively excited for this. This is a third-party made game, though, made by Blooper Team. And it's a console exclusive, but it's also coming to PC as well. So this got a release date for October 8th, and new gameplay was revealed as well too. New gameplay details. I'll go over it real quickly because this is part of the PlayStation blog. So it does talk about the original Silent Hill 2 ignited their imaginations, and when they set out to create the remake, their main goal was to recapture that same spark by fully fleshing out Team Silent's original vision using cutting-edge technology. So you might be wondering, how does the remake compare to the original game, right? Well, starting with narrative and gameplay. So story and characters here in the Silent Hill 2, is known for its gripping and multi-layered storytelling, and that's something the devs wanted to preserve in the remake. The setting of some events may change, but their impact on the story will remain the same. Basically, like, how a typical good remake should be. Like, you're gonna stick to the core elements and core story beats of the original game and story, but you'll like change some things up and whatnot that maybe make more sense to do so in that way, while still retaining, the core message and story elements, basically. So even when new locations are introduced, the devs sought to refer to original whenever possible, so that returning players will feel right at home when they venture out into the foggy streets of Silent Hill again. You got central characters from the original story, James and Maria, that are the heart of the remake as well, and their emotional arcs have been preserved with great care being given to showcasing their emotions with motion capture technology. And as many fans may already be aware, well, the devs did not use the original voices to create the remake. This is due to many factors, both the creative and technical. Relying solely on pre-existing dialogue would have been limiting and would mean that many gameplay improvements, such as player guidance, could not be introduced. Then they decided to employ an all-new cast of voice actors who've brought their A game to channel the performances of the original game. Then camera and combat. So overall, the devs want players to feel more in control of James in the remake, while maintaining the pervasive feeling of dread that characterizes the original. Therefore, we decided to go with an over-the-shoulder camera that supports greater gameplay immersion and the feeling of being in the game space. However, this does not mean that the devs are changing the style of the game itself. Players will still be afraid to venture out into the fog, where limited visibility provides ample cover for a variety of monsters lurking outside the player's field of vision. Meanwhile, James's radio builds tension and creates a sense of uncertainty about what is out there, waiting for them in the dark, and also provides helpful audio cues for players to base their movements on. The combat in this remake is designed to allow for a wider variety of approaches. The player's arsenal of actions has been expanded, also preserving the feeling of playing as an inexperienced everyman. James is not a skilled fighter, and he doesn't feel overpowered. His range of attacks is very limited, so he must use more prudent tactics. Stay mindful of his surroundings, and if necessary, run instead of fighting. The way he deals with enemies is never a flashy spectacle, but rather a desperate struggle for survival. And I like that. I do like that aspect. Like, yes, this is true survival horror here. Like, come on, give it to us. Giving James more opportunities led to changes in how the enemies he encounters fight as well. He will still have to deal with familiar opponents from the original game, but returning players will notice how their movements and attacks have been fleshed out in order to make them more distinctive and unpredictable in combat scenarios. For instance, going against the frantically aggressive nurse will pose a completely different challenge than a skirmish with the silent and stealthy mannequin. And of course, the puzzles are back. So puzzles in the game have been slightly altered to present a new spin on their original designs, but still maintain their eerie connection to the game's overall theme and narrative. We've taken great care to build upon the memory of the original Silent Hill 2 by sometimes twisting and confounding players' expectations with regards to certain puzzle solutions, in a kind of tribute to the inventiveness and playfulness of the original game. Devs believe that this approach, alongside numerous and often surprising references to the original present in the game, will bring joy to fans of the classic Silent Hill 2, while at the same time offering them something new and interesting to solve. We like to think of it as our way of expressing love for the original game by enriching the experience while still being mindful of preserving its essence. And you got the standard edition of the game here and different editions here, so it is available to pre-order. The deluxe edition includes various DLCs, such as a digital art book full of concept art for the town of Silent Hill and its monsters, a digital soundtrack with tracks by Akira Yamaoka, and a pyramid head mask made from a pizza box. Pyramid head mask is available as a cosmetic item for in-game characters. And then if a pre-order is placed, the standard and deluxe editions will include a Mira the dog mask and a Robbie the rabbit mask. Same thing, these are cosmetic items you can use on the characters if you want. So just cosmetic stuff basically, nothing too fancy honestly. And basically more details will come out leading up to the game essentially. Lastly, Lords of the Fallen. And, you know, we thought this game was done getting updates or major updates of any kind because the devs made it seem like they were done, right? But no, apparently Lords of the Fallen releases Clash of Champions update. This is basically a boss rush mode. So with Clash of Champions, players can now replay boss battles against previously defeated enemies or face them sequentially in one of several grueling trials. Both modes can be played solo or with a partner in online co-op multiplayer. And this update follows the last update, which is the version 1.5 update, Master of Fate, which is supposed to be the final part of the post-launch content roadmap for Lords of the Fallen, which marked a culmination of over 30 post-launch updates for the game, improving performance, stability, difficulty balance across the board, all that, and several substantial content drops. So if you haven't played this game yet, this is honestly probably the best time to do so. Get into it, especially all these updates, and they fixed it out and made it so much better. I still have to go through it back myself. I tried it at launch, and it was still kind of a little buggy and weird. So I'm hoping this fixes a lot of stuff, for me at least, when it comes to my PC rig. And it's also available on Game Pass if you want to try it that way. Don't want to pay full price for it. Hey, if you got a Game Pass, you can try through that, see if you like it, and then go from there if you want to buy it. And that wraps it up for me with this video when it comes to gaming news of the week. Let me know in the comments about what you think about the news of the week, especially with how Sony's handling God of War Ragnarok PC. Are you excited about the Warhammer 40K stuff going on with the sequel to Mechanicus and a DLC for Rogue Trader? What are your thoughts on Dragon Age Red Wolf? Are you super hyped for that? And what do you expect to be talked about at Summer Games Fest when it comes to this game? I'm hoping they show off gameplay and we get a release date. And I'm very much looking forward to Silent Hill 2 Remake. I love my horror games, guys. So if you're looking forward to that, let me know your thoughts on that too. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. And if you like this video, please smash that like. And hopefully you found this helpful too. Subscribe if you're new. And hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss anything on my channel here. My name is Mike. Thanks for watching.